The most valuable games aren't always the best games. On the secondary market, rarity determines a game's price, not quality. Luckily, these days you can play some of the most valuable games in the world for free via emulators. But should you? Here's a look at the most expensive video games ranked worst to best. Stadium events. It's arguably the most valuable video game in the world, but it's also one of the worst. Stadium Events was created for the NES to take advantage of the system's Family Fun Fitness mat add-on. Neither the game nor the mat lasted very long, though. After a short time, Nintendo bought both the game and the peripheral and re-released them as World Class Track Meet and the Power Pad, respectively. As a result, North American copies of the original have fetched upwards of 40 grand, which is a lot for a game where you basically just jump in place. And that's if you have the mat. With an emulator, you are reduced to simple button mashing. Either way, save yourself the time and the money and skip this one. Gauntlet. If you're looking for wizards, warriors, and dungeons, move along. This isn't the Gauntlet that you know and love, but rather a terrible mail-away Atari 2600 game from 1983 that happens to have the same name. This Gauntlet is an infinite runner where you try to jump or dodge obstacles in order to avoid spilling a glass of water, which makes it even loonier that it's worth roughly $5,000. No thanks. Air Raid. Atari 2600 fans sure love their Space Invaders ripoffs, but there's one copycat so bad even they wouldn't buy it. Air Raid. How bad is it? Only one copy still exists with the packaging and manual, and it survived only because when the owner tried to return it, the salesman wouldn't take it back. It's not hard to see why. Not only is it spectacularly boring, it's also glitchy, with bullets sometimes flying right through enemy ships. With a price tag of over $33,000, someone paid a lot of money for the chance to get really ticked off. Red Sea Crossing. Ever wanted to control Moses as he dodges killer crabs while trying to cross the Red Sea to save the Israelites? You know, just like in the Bible? Probably not, which explains why there are only 2 known copies of this weird Atari 2600 game in existence. Designed as a way to teach Bible stories to gamers, Red Sea Crossing originally came with an audio cassette and coloring book, both of which were probably more interesting than this tedious game, which now fetches more than $10,000. Lochjaw. Pac-Man with sharks sounds like an amazing idea for a game, but the 1981 Atari 2600 release Lochjaw proves that wrong. In Lochjaw, you control a yellow swimmer who cruises around a maze picking up diamonds while avoiding the enemy trying to end you. Unfortunately, the game is buggy and the shark is boring. Instead of chasing you around the maze like Pac-Man's ghosts, it just swims in a straight line across the screen, making it easy to avoid. Strangely enough, though, it wasn't Pac-Man developer Namco that sued over Lochjaw, but rather the folks behind the movie Jaws. As a result, production of the game was halted, leading some collectors to offer as much as $7,000 for a complete copy in box. Gamma Attack. Just how much money the only known copy of Gamma Attack is worth, nobody knows, though it's estimated to be somewhere between $6,000 and $14,000. What we do know, though, is that Gamma Attack is actually pretty good, presenting a unique spin on the Space Invaders archetype by putting players in charge of the invading aliens. And the mechanics are innovative too, as the more damage you take, the more altitude you lose, making it harder and harder to dodge oncoming bullets. It's not amazing, but Gamma Attack presents a fun twist on a well-established formula and deserved a wider audience. Too bad it'll never get one. Nintendo PowerFest 94. In 1994, 32 copies of this hybrid SNES game were produced for the Nintendo PowerFest competition.
Video game enthusiasts in Central Illinois have converged on Champaign this weekend for PowerFest 94.
After the competition ended, the cartridges were supposed to be destroyed, but 2 survived, with one fetching more than $12,000 cash from a Canadian collector. That's a lot considering Nintendo PowerFest 94 isn't even a unique game. Instead, it gives you 6 minutes to rack up a high score by playing first stage in Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, completing 5 laps in Super Mario Kart, and belting out as many home runs as possible in Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball. The first two minigames are fun enough, but once you get the hang of how to hit dingers, Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball becomes a boring chore. Magical Chase. At first glance, Magical Chase seems like a typical side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. But once you really get into it, oh boy is it weird. You play a witch shooting down bizarre creatures that include star-shaped monsters on surfboards, exploding killer teddy bears, and a chicken head that runs around on human legs. All while fat blue ghosts chase you around and a floating acorn chucks peanuts at your head. Or something. Unfortunately, this whimsical and fun effort never found an audience, in large part because it was released in 1993 just before the TurboGrafx 16 sadly went the way of the dinosaur. These days, Magical Chase is often considered the TurboGrafx 16's rarest game, and copies sell for around $6,000. Nintendo World Championships. Like PowerFest 94, the Nintendo World Championships cartridge for the NES is the byproduct of a national video game competition. A contest that spanned 29 cities, regional winners of the Nintendo World Championships received one of the competition carts as a prize, while 26 gold-colored variants were handed out to Nintendo Power subscribers as part of a contest. So far, the biggest confirmed sale of a Nintendo World Championships cart comes in at $21,400.
Not for the big prizes, not for the money. We're doing it for fun, we're doing it for Mario.
Structurally, Nintendo World Championships follows the same formula as PowerFest 94. Players get 5 minutes to collect 50 coins in Super Mario Bros. And complete a lap in Rad Racer, and then spend the remaining time collecting points in Tetris. It's not that interesting, but at least it's short. Atlantis II. The only way to get a copy of the legendary Atari 2600 game Atlantis II was to max out your score on the original Atlantis and mail a photo of the accomplishment in to the developer, who would then send you back a copy of Atlantis II as a prize.
So you created Atlantis for Imagine. I was at Atlantis. The skies above the underwater city filled with Gorgon attack vessels.
That explains why copies can sell for $6,000 or more. In terms of gameplay, Atlantis II is almost exactly the same as the original Atlantis, only faster and more difficult. Which is good because it means Atlantis II has everything you want in an older arcade-style shooter, making it the best, insanely expensive video game money can buy. Thanks for watching! Click the SVG icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.